my passion started 11 years ago. I had an older adult that really touched my heart and thanked me for the care that I was giving them. So my passion just grew, and I said I want to do this for the rest of my life and work with this generation of older adults and those to come. And talking to somebody that's maybe considering geriatrics, but not really sure, I would just challenge them to think of the opportunities that it can bring, as it brought to me personally. These older adults have affected my life in every aspect. They've made me a better person, a better mom, a better friend. There are different types of nurses out there, and long-term care is one of them, and it's a specialty of care, and it's again, meaningful and all of that. So I would like to see the shift in the media from long-term care being dropping mom off in a nursing home and she's mad about it, miserable, to dropping mom off at a nursing home and she's going to have friends and she's going to be well taken care of. How can we engage nursing schools with nursing homes in a more meaningful, very deliberate manner? And how we do that is use storytelling to start to change that stigma between nursing homes and nursing schools, to make this a specialty of care and a top pick for students once they graduate.
Welcome to the Nurse on Purpose podcast, where we challenge media stereotypes about nursing and spotlight the incredible and diverse roles nurses play in healthcare. I'm your host, Nello. Every week, I'll be joined by a nurse who is reshaping the narrative. From frontline care to leadership, education, innovation, and beyond. Our aim is to show the world that nursing is so much more than what we see on TV. Together, we'll explore how we can collaborate with media and other stakeholders to create authentic and inspiring portrayals of nurses. Let's begin the conversation and ignite change, one episode at a time. Welcome back, everyone. Today on the Nurse on Purpose podcast, we're shedding a light on a corner of nursing that too often gets overlooked, and one nurse who is changing that. My guest, Taylor McMahon, worked her way up from LPN to Director of Nursing, building her career in long-term care, not because it was easy, but because it was meaningful to her. Taylor is helping to break the stigma that long-term care is not a strong or desirable career path. She's also shaping the next generation of nurses through her work with the University of Pittsburgh and leading efforts that connect nursing schools with care facilities. From staff leadership to national advocacy, Taylor brings real insight into what it takes to lead with purpose in geriatric nursing. She's here today to challenge the outdated mindset that working in a nursing home is a less than path, and instead show us what leadership, innovation, and true purpose look like when you commit to your passion, which for her is caring for our elders. It's such a pleasure to have you on here with me today. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today.
I think we share a connection in that we are trying to break a stigma, right? We're trying to shift a narrative. For me, it is nursing in general. And for you, you found your niche when it comes to nursing, which is elder care, long-term care, skilled nursing facilities. People generally don't want to work in those areas because they're not as attractive, right? So you went from LPN to now DON, Director of Nursing. Can you take us back to the moment when you fell in love with nursing and then eventually fell in love with geriatrics? Like, what made you say, yeah, this is it, this is where I belong?
Yes. Thank you for asking. So my passion started 11 years ago. Again, I was an LPN and wanted to just get my feet wet and start in long-term care, then get my RN and go on to be an ER nurse. It was one resident one time that shifted that mindset for me. I had an older adult that really touched my heart and thanked me for the care that I was giving them. And I looked at her and said, the honor is mine. This was a resident that fought for women's rights, fought for civil rights, and just really was an advocate and shared stories and pictures with me of our history. And I just felt like it was such an honor to care for her. And here she was thanking me for choosing this career. So my passion just grew. grew. And I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life and work with this generation of older adults and those to come. And so I obtained went from LPN to RN, did some, I did several positions leading up to director of nursing,
Yeah.
such as education and a manager on a floor.
Mhm.
And my passion set here to director of nursing, as I was able to be in a position to make positive change for those that I serve and the team that I work for.
That is amazing. It takes, I think, a special kind of care and compassion, really just to care for people in general,
Mm-hmm.
but then to care for our geriatric population because it's like they've come full circle from that
Mm-hmm.
infancy stage. And now you're doing some of the things for them that you would do for younger patients. And some people may look at that as degrading work, but for you, you are seeking to break that stigma, this persistent idea that long-term care work is sort of like less than, especially for BSM prepared nurses who
Right.
feel like they need to be in the ER or the ICU or trauma. How are you rewriting this narrative in your work that BSM prepared nurses can go into long-term care and can find fulfillment there?
Yes, that's a great question. And I'm able to do some of that storytelling to share with them. This is meaningful work. You have a lot of autonomy in long-term care. It's a nursing home. It's
Mhm.
nurse-driven care where you can really impact the quality of life of older adults, whether that's through quality improvement projects, or that's through reducing the amount of high-risk drugs that they're on, or looking at the falls that they sustain and how we can root cause analysis so they don't occur again, and by enhancing mobility. There's really so many different avenues that
Mhm.
the nurse can use critical thinking skills
Mhm.
to be able, and those deep connections, really getting to know those patients or residents, whether it's short-term rehab or more long-term care or dementia-specific care. You get to really understand the patient, get to know their family, get to know what they like, what's important to them, and then be able to shift that to how can we improve the quality of care, quality of life, to be able to have them live the rest of their life
Yeah.
how they want and be safe and not be in pain and have meaningful moments with their families or the team that's working with them every day.
Yeah.
And so we're really able to show nursing students when they come into the nursing home that focus of quality improvement instead of just passing medication and doing assessments. We're looking at a resident in a holistic way so that they're able to touch on different areas of their care, whether it's medication or mobility or mentation, which I'll circle back with the four
Yes.
M's. But
Yeah.
that's the way that we're able to shape the care that we deliver to be able to make the most impact. And you see that, and that satisfaction comes when the resident either passes away peacefully and the
Mm.
family is showing their gratitude for the care that we give, or the resident goes from having 4 falls in a week to 0, or we're able to use non-pharmacological interventions instead of high-risk drugs to manage distress reactions related to delirium or dementia. So those stories that we're able to show and the nursing students can see in real time,
Mhm.
that's what we want to show them to make this a
Mhm.
more attractive field for them to go into. And instead of ICU, ER, which
Mhm.
obviously, that's where there's that stigma. Nursing homes and long-term care get
Mhm.
very little exposure.
Yeah.
While even personally, when I
During
was in
sleep
nursing
holes.
school.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You only maybe run into it during a psych rotation, and the
Mhm.
things that you see also kind of drive you away, but you're rooting for more of a cerebral model versus
Mhm.
something that is task oriented. Because if a nurse who's BSM prepared feels like all they're doing is passing meds, they're not encouraged to join because they're thinking, I don't get to use my brain a lot here. All I do is just
Mhm.
pass meds. And I like that you're uncovering all the other deeper aspects that there are to the
Mhm.
holistic model, to the 4Ms model. Let's talk about that, by the way.
Yes,
You explained to me earlier in our conversation about that age-friendly health systems and the matters, mentation, medication, mobility. Can you unpack that more for us, that
of
model, and
course.
how it transforms care?
Yes. So I'm very passionate about the 4Ms model of care because we've been able to see it implemented, sustained, and work. It really defines person-centered care for older adults. And the 4Ms model is evidence-based, causes no harm. And it's developed by IHI, Institute of Healthcare Improvement. And there's tons of resources out there on the age-friendly model, the 4M model. I'm grateful to be a part of the Teaching Nursing Home Collaborative, which I will share links with you shortly that the audience would be able to click on and learn more or join us in this movement of being able to connect nursing schools to the nursing home and also implement and sustain the 4M model of care. So 4M age-friendly care is booming across the country in hospitals and outpatient setting and in nursing homes to really shape the way that we deliver care to older adults and look at what matters and then align mentation, which includes dementia, delirium, depression, medication, which looks at polypharmacy and high-risk drugs, and mobility. How can we help older adults be able to enhance their mobility so that they're able to do what matters most? Through doing this and having these conversations with the older adults that we serve, we're really able to reshape how we deliver person-centered care. It's so much more than allowing them to choose what they want to wear for the day or what they want to eat. This is really empowering them in their health care and really enhancing the quality of care that we were able to deliver by delivering those 4Ms in a set for each older adult that we encounter.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you touched on the Teaching Nursing Home Collaborative
Yes.
really briefly. Can you tell us about that work with schools, with the University of Pittsburgh, and just how you're
Yes.
using this collaborative to help the next generation of nursing see nursing homes and long-term care through a more empowered lens?
Yes. So through the Teaching Nursing Home Collaborative, funded by John A. Hartford and Jewish Healthcare Foundation here in Pittsburgh and actually across the state of Pennsylvania, I'm located in Pittsburgh, and other funders, we were able to really have a collaborative that looks at how can we engage nursing schools with nursing homes in a more meaningful, very deliberate manner. And how we do that, my partner is University of Pittsburgh. So these are BSN, NP students that are coming in. So there's two tiers, the 4-year prepared student, and then our nurse practitioner students that are able to come into the nursing home and work on 4M specific care. So they're able to look at the 4M model in this setting and how can we enhance quality improvement through the 4M model. So we've had students do case studies on the residents and looking at the 4Ms and how we deliver care in areas that we can really shift our focus on. These students have come out with really amazing presentations as part of their clinical assignment that really show how when you look at what matters most to the individual resident, all of the other M's are able to be positively impacted. And I can give you just a quick example. I had our last clinical rotation. We had a student working with one of my residents that she's immobile, she's not able to get up and walk. So she's confined to bed. She can get into the chair, but she does have some pain related to that. And she was triggering on a PHQ-9, which is a geriatric depression scale that we utilize for depression. She was a little bit of a self-isolator, and the student was able to work with her to find out what mattered most. And she wanted to learn a new skill. And so she started teaching her crochet. And we started a crochet class. So we have somebody come in, and this a resident who is completely immobile attends this crochet class every week now because we just started to dig a little deeper. Well, what do you want to do? Well, my fingers fingers are contracted. So
Mm,
how can we adapt the crochet needle so that you're able to use those fine motor skills to enhance, to help prevent further contractures? How can we cure your depression? What can we make you happier about? And I just spoke to this resident yesterday, and the student actually who finished her clinical rotation is still in contact with this resident because they developed such a great rapport. And so the resident said, I want to tell the student how she positively impacted my life and how I'm more engaged and
yeah,
how my depression is resolving. And so this just happened this week. And so there's so many stories like this of
yeah,
how the student's able to connect with the resident, and it touches on each of those ends. Her mobility is better. Her mentation's better. Could we look at her antidepressant medication and see if we're able to decrease or stop those medications once her mentation gets a little bit better? So there's so many different avenues that
yeah,
there's so many stories just like that I could
yeah,
share of the positive impact that the teaching nursing home has had on our residents here and across the state of Pennsylvania in
yeah,
connecting these nursing students to geriatric nursing.
yeah.
And even if they don't choose to work in a nursing home, which I hope they do, but if they don't,
Mhm.
this experience, you're going to encounter an older adult
Yeah,
in your work, in the hospital, in outpatient settings, in home health, whatever that whatever avenue that nurse chooses. So it was really nice to be able to just talk to this resident. She actually offered to do a little testimonial so that we could share that with Pitt Nursing to play in the nursing school in class. And I also go into the nursing schools once a semester and do a guest lecture on neurocognitive disease. And I'm able to, go through the PowerPoint, but also share stories like this.
yeah,
And you can see the faces of the students. They're like, wait, you assess for delirium and do this in the nursing home. And you are able to, look at, antipsychotic medication, these high risk medications, and
mhm,
utilize non pharmacological interventions at the bedside. And so we're able to really use storytelling
yeah,
to hopefully start to change that stigma that is in nursing, between nursing homes and nursing schools,
yeah,
to make this a specialty of care and a top pick for students
yeah.
once they graduate.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Meaningful work indeed. Just
Yeah.
hearing that story really shows me the power of connecting with people, right?
Mhm.
That people who are isolated, right? They don't want to be that way. But in order to pull them out of their shell, you really need to connect with your heart and see what it is that matters to them. If you generalize their care, you're not
Mhm.
going to get it, right? But if you
Right.
come kind of at their level, meet them where they are, you'll pull more out of them, even in a shorter period of time.
Mhm.
Thanks for sharing about that 4M's model and how the nursing student was able to use that to impact this resident's care. Now I'm going to ask you a question that's kind of lengthy and maybe a little controversial, okay? But I do want to touch on it because it affects the public perception that people have about nursing homes. We see a lot of stories: nursing home abuse, medication errors, residents not kept properly, like they're just not, they're not taken care of properly. You may go to the nursing home and you see your loved one and their hair, and they just look disheveled, and they haven't been moved for a long time. um, how can we mitigate these issues? I know that one of the biggest reasons for this is understaffing, right? High patient volumes. People come in and they're like, I just don't like the way nursing homes smell. Like, there's something about nursing homes that are, as a director of nursing, you oversee 100 and what, 70 patients thereabout. How do you lead your team to see that this work is not just a job, but it's a calling, so that this narrative and this mindset can shift? I know you're just one person, but how do you start to allow so that the residential area feels like home and not like a prison confinement that sometimes it can feel like if you've walked into the average nursing home? What can we do to begin shifting this atmosphere and this narrative?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think even during the pandemic, nursing homes were villainized in the media as well. And often you hear the bad stories and not the good stories of how I can tell you that, the gratitude that our families and residents have for the quality of care that we deliver. We get those thank you cards, or the break rooms are full with food because people do appreciate the care that we give. And it's really about being a leader at the bedside. So, yes, it's a very big building. We are very busy here. We're very highly regulated, and the staffing shortage is hitting everywhere, including nursing homes and hospitals and outpatient settings. So I do fully understand that it is difficult to really be able to see the positive when there are so many negatives shared. But the positives are out there on the floors. And I can tell you, whether it's me saying as a leader, hey, CNA, I want you to go talk to this resident about what matters most. Go connect with them. And we've done that. And I'll watch your call bells while you do that. Or let me go up and round up with the team and make a bed with them or do a shower with them and see what's working well. Our CNAs are the backbone. They are so smart and they have really good ideas and they really help drive the nursing care as well. So really empowering them. I meet with them, our lead aides, to really say what ideas do you have? What process improvement can we do? What clinically, what are you seeing out on the floor? And educating them to really help them be able to deliver the best care that they can. And I truly believe that education is it helps create that culture of empowerment. So we do a lot of education here. And it's really about being out there on the floor, working with our team to be able to deliver the best quality of care. And you see those meaningful moments. I was just walking the hallway yesterday and I saw a nurse rubbing a resident's back and giving them a massage. And, I talked to a resident on Friday or on Thursday who said that, the aide took him to our personal care home to see his wife who wasn't feeling well. And she took her lunch break to take him over there to visit with his wife. So it's just those stories like that, when you go out there and you see the care that's being done. And yes, are there nursing homes that could improve on these areas? Of course. And that's why we advocate so much for this 4M model of care, because it can really help collectively change the way that we deliver care in every nursing home, which is looking at what's most important to the resident. But it does take leadership to be able to say, okay, I know staffing's not the best, but I'm going to put it on my calendar every day to go out on the floor and talk to our team, to interview our residents. We do pulse checks with our residents. I just had our administrator last month do during resident council. How is the team doing with the 4M model? We were just checking on it. How can we do it better? And they've given us really good feedback to help us really develop and sustain this. Like one of the residents said that your team's really good at doing it, but when you have agency nurses coming in, they don't really understand it. So we did an education we included it in our agency orientation. So there are so many different avenues that you can do to solicit that feedback from the team to say, how can leadership support you to deliver the best care possible 24 hours a day? Because this generation deserves that. They deserve the best care. Our geriatrics that we care for, they deserve good care. We want to be able to deliver it. And by looking at the 4M model, it can really help shape that so that it's just a sustainable model of care where you're looking at each M and looking most importantly at what matters to each individual resident. And so that can really help reshape nursing and nursing homes to be able to showcase those meaningful moments, which helps with retention, because that's why we're all here. We do this because we love it. We could probably make more money somewhere else doing something else, but it's those meaningful moments that help us, that let us stay, because we care for these seniors like they're our family. We do. Yeah.
Meaningful moments. And again, those 4M's are what matters: mentation, medication, and mobility. You should make it 6 meaningful moments.
I love that. When you look at what matters, they organically appear. I promise.
I love that. You are just so passionate about this. I'm watching you talk about it, and my heart is beaming with pride because it's great to see people who go for it. They go after their passion and really just pursue it with no apologies, right? Even if it's the path that is less traveled. You have done so much great work. You present at conferences, right? You had a fellowship at the American Hospital Association. You're advocating for long-term care from the grassroots level, from our student level, and then all the way up to larger platforms. And you're doing it just with so much grit and energy and love. And I deeply appreciate this work that you're doing. If you could write a letter to your younger self, right? The one that is just stepping into long-term care for the first time, what would you say? And actually, let's make that a double-edged sword. If you could say something to a nurse who, after watching ER and Grey's Anatomy and all of that, they're interested in geriatrics, but they feel pressure to follow the cool career path. What would you say to that nurse? And what would you say to your younger self recently stepping into long-term care nursing?
I would say to my younger self that this path that you're choosing really will give you the opportunity for growth and development, not only professionally, which I'm so grateful for the career that I have been able to build in geriatrics, but personally, these older adults have affected my life in every aspect. They've made me a better person, a better mom, a better friend, because I'm able to see the other side. I've held hands of older adults passing away. I've been able to put on their favorite song when they are, whenever they're starting to transition. I've been able to comfort families after death. This is it for a lot of our residents. They pass away here. And to be able to be a part of that has been life-changing for me. In appreciating life and going through the pandemic in the nursing home. I was, obviously I know I don't have to go over that with everyone on this call, because I know that we've all lived through it, and we're still actually living through it in the nursing home and isolating and things and testing and things like that. But it has truly changed the person I am to make me a better person because of the career that I chose. And talking to somebody that's maybe considering geriatrics, but not really sure, I would just challenge them to think of the opportunities that it can bring, as it brought to me. And I don't, the work that I share at conferences is not my work. It's the work that the team is doing out on the floor every single day to be able to positively impact those that we're serving. And so I just do storytelling. Yes, I go over some of the academic stuff and things like that, but then I go back to, this is what the nurse was able to do for the resident. She was able to say, do you know what meds you're taking and why? And then the resident said, no, I'm old. I'm not dumb. Talk to me about my meds. I had a resident say that. It was so funny. And through going through that, she was able to identify a hypnotic that the resident was placed on when she had a hospitalization a year ago. It was making her groggy in the morning. She wasn't able to bird watch, which was what mattered to her. And through doing that and having that conversation, these are your meds. This is what you're taking. Do you know why you're taking? She was able to talk to the pharmacist and the doctor, stop the medication. The resident was able to wake up early, do the bird watching. We got our little bird feeder outside of her window, and she was happier. And it's just that one thing that nurse did was able to positively impact that resident's mornings for the rest of her life. She was able to go and watch the birds at the bird feeder because she wasn't so groggy from the trazodone. So it just goes to show you that you can make a difference every day in the senior's life. And I would just challenge them to try it, because you're going to have that aha moment like I did. I've had so many of them, and taking care of veterans and taking care of people that were pressed, and just so many different stories that they tell me. I'm so grateful for that, because it just drives my passion to be able to want to change the way that nursing homes deliver care and across the world, really. But, we're starting with Pennsylvania with the teaching nursing home, but this is been able to catch on nationally. We have some other states that are really interested in the work that we're doing. And so I would invite you all to just join us and be able to say, I want to be a part of something that is going to positively impact my mom when she's in senior living, or my grandmother, or me when I'm old, right? We're all going to get there. So it's how do we want that to look? And we want it to look like we're going to ask the individual what's most important to them and align their care with that.
Awesome. Whew, you are like touching my heart.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you just for your leadership. Thank you for shedding a light on the realities of long-term care and the meaningful work that you're doing and what people who want to get into this field can come to look forward to, and all the innovation and just all of it. You're doing an amazing thing. Thank you so much. It's been such an honor to talk to you, and I want to just kind of scoot over with our last 5 minutes to play our game and talk media.
I'm so excited for this.
Are you excited? Okay, good. I'm glad you are. So let's play our game, and I'm going to actually roll it to one, because I usually ask my guests what their thoughts and their opinions about how nurses are presented in media are, and then we play our game. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shake my jar. I'm going to pick out your category, and then you can go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are, and then just go right into what you would do differently if you could create your own show. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Do you have any wishes? Just go for it.
I don't know. I'm excited for the random draw.
I opened my eyes there for a second, so I'm going to close it back. This have never picked before. So your category is religious.
Oh, interesting. Okay, great.
Field, a faith-based movie or book or show or something. So start off by telling me what your thoughts are about how nurses are presented in media, and then create a show that features a nurse character, and it should kind of have a religious bearing or connotation to it.
Sure. So I do feel that, one, I feel like long-term care is underrepresented in media and often villainized when it is represented. A lot of the shows that are surrounding healthcare are in the hospital, and so it's often misrepresented. There are different types of nurses out there, and long-term care is one of them, and it's a specialty of care, and it's, again, meaningful and all of those things. So I would like to see the shift in the media from long-term care being dropping mom off in a nursing home and she's mad about it, miserable, to dropping mom off in a nursing home and she's going to have friends and she's going to be well taken care of and be able to attend activities and be able to be happy and meet people like her with similar needs, right? And so that she doesn't feel so alone. In creating that show, religion is really important in what matters to a lot of our residents, and it looks different for each of our residents. We have Christian residents, Jewish residents. There's lots of different types of residents that we take care of, and so by asking them what's important for them, to be able to connect them to those religious, whatever spiritual needs that they have. We've been very innovative in doing that. So I would want to see that the nurse being portrayed in a way that shows that compassionate side of nursing, those connections that nurses have. And that's why a lot of us became nurses, is because we want to make an impact. And we are naturally compassionate and empaths. And so I think that would really shift the media to say, wow, a nurse is doing, going about not just passing medications or running to an emergency in a hospital, but they're able to sit with a resident and hold their hand and give them something that was important to them in their last days or hours of life.
The soul as well as the body.
Yes, it's good for the soul. So it's really that holistic care that we're able to deliver in long-term care. And so I would want that portrayed, whether it's doing something with essential oils or whatever's important to the resident, and being able to say, and there's such a stigma there that we just go in, pass medications, and walk out. And we would want to
Yes,
show those connections that we have in the
absolutely.
because they happen every single day. They're happening
Every
right now out there.
every
Yeah,
day, every single day, and there's no way to quantify that with a
exactly.
dollar amount. Thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. Where can people
That
find you
was
to
fun.
connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm available by email at tmcmahon, MCMAHON, at
Mhm,
srcare.org.
mhm,
You're always welcome to stop at the Willows Nursing Home in Oakmont, Pennsylvania. And I would just encourage you to look up go to the IHI website, read about age-friendly health systems. There's tons of resources out there on age-friendly, no matter in what sector you're in. They even just created an application for home health, which is exciting. So if it's something that you want to be able to implement in the setting that you're in, if you service any older adult across all sectors, you can apply for level 1 recognition with IHI to be recognized as age
mhm,
friendly. And you just submit an application. They have people that are there to coach you. It's free. It's again, that application is the first step.
yeah,
The second step is you've proved through 3 months of data, right? And you don't have to send in data. You just say, we're going to impact 5 older adults a month, and this is how
mm,
we're going to do it with 4M Care. Once you submit 3 months of those counts, you get recognized by IHI as committed to care excellence, which is you're an age-friendly community. And I'm happy to coach anybody listening, set up a Zoom and talk through it with you to be able to and also to share with you some more of those stories and some
mm,
data and some ways that we've been able to build age friendly into our EMR and all of those things through a quick Zoom or call. I'm happy to help anybody because I've seen the positive impacts it's had not only on our resident but our team as well.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this. I
Thank
hope that
you.
people can reach out to you and connect. And, the way that we got connected was on LinkedIn. So please reach out to Taylor McMahon on
Yes.
LinkedIn if you have any interest, especially nursing students, because I could see this work really going to many, many different nursing schools across the
Yes, that's the
country.
goal.
Sharing about your work with them. But thanks for being here. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you guys so much for listening on today's podcast episode. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much. Bye.
Bye bye. Thanks for hanging with me till the end. I hope you gained some valuable insight into the world of nursing. If today's episode inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear about the amazing work nurses are doing. Let's keep breaking stereotypes and reshaping the narrative together. I'll see you next time.